Alright, so got a little bit of a different engine on the bench today. This is a 1943 Briggs and Stratton ZZ. I didn't just buy this. I've had this engine for probably 2.5 or 3 years now. I think I've had it since 2021. I think that's when I got this engine and rebuilt it. It's dusty, but it's been sitting a while. I rebuilt this engine right after I bought it, and I'm going to tell the story of it while I'm working on it because it's a pretty neat engine. You don't see a ZZ much. You see them, they're common, but you just don't see them as much as a Model N or WMB. It's a nice engine, but I'll tell a story about how I rebuilt it and everything while I'm working on it. And I gotta go get a few more tools. So we'll film some more here in a minute. Alright, so the reason we're working on this thing today is it has no spark. I'm assuming that's from sitting in the moisture and the points are corroded, or a spider's built its nest in the points because of the way they are on these engines. So you can see it's a brand new plug. We'll have to get on this side of it. Hey, to be sure I'm not standing in the way of the camera. First thing I'm going to take off is the rope starter cup. And I've also got to change the oil in it because it's still got break-in oil in it. So, I guess I might as well tell the story of how I got this engine. So I bought this engine in 2021. I'm pretty sure it's 2021 at the Tennessee-Kentucky Thriftman Show. This is a military engine too. I think I've referenced this engine before, but it is a military engine. Built in 1943. When I got this engine, it was stuck. Would not turn over. Had no oil in it. It had no spark plug in it. The carburetor was seized. There really nothing on this thing moved. And it was attached to a military generator, which is around here somewhere. I can't remember where, but it's around here somewhere. The generator part was no good. So I wanted to rebuild the engine. So started tearing it apart. It really would have made a good restoration series, but that's before I was doing YouTube. And I don't have oil in this air cleaner, so it's not going to leak everywhere. And I know it's not exactly the right color, but the piston was stuck bad. The bottom end was nice. There wasn't anything majorly wrong with the bottom end, but the top end was pretty bad. The valve seats were bad. The exhaust valve itself was bad. I think it was the exhaust valve. Yeah, it was bad. And the intake valve was fine. the exhaust valve was pitted on the valve face. I don't have a valve face grinder, so I didn't fool with regrinding it. I just got a new one. The piston got scored really bad when I pressed it out of the cylinder, and every one of the rings broke when I tried to take them off of the piston. So I bought a new piston, new exhaust valve, and course gaskets and seals and everything, and then I painted it back with what was supposed to be OD green, but I don't think that's really OD green. But the cylinder itself was pitted to the point where it would have had to been bored like 30 over. See what kind of spiders are back here. Yeah. See what we got. No live spiders anyways. There ain't even been no mice in here. So as you can tell, it's got really good compression. Check it for spark again. And there's nothing. Let's see if this wrench will get this crankshaft nut loose. I highly doubt it. It got it. There we go. So I didn't want to have the cylinder bored over. It would have cost more to have the cylinder bored over than it did for me to buy another cylinder, a used cylinder, off of another engine. Pop loose. No. That time it did. So this cylinder is not the original cylinder. It's the original head, original block, valve tappets, all of that. But it's not the original cylinder. Turn it around to the top. And this is a big, hefty flywheel. Ended up buying a parts engine too that had a remanufactured coil on it. The original coil was junk. I can get this screw loose. There we go. And hopefully just corroded points. They don't look terribly corroded. Might have some of this goofy wiring that's not right. This ground out, maybe grounded out, actually. I've never thought about taking that loose or cutting it. But these basically have a piece of, I don't know, they're corroded. Not corroded bad, but they're corroded. They're opening and closing correctly. You have to set preload on these points because they're a piece of spring steel. So I finished rebuilding it, and I wanted to have it ready that year for what ended up being the last Days Gone By Tractor Threshmen show in 2021. It ended up being the last show they ever did there. So I wanted to have it ready for that, and I started, the show was like October the 5th of 2021, and I started this motor for the first time on October the 1st. It didn't have the gas tank on it when I started it. I just filled the carburetor bowl up and fired it up and confirmed that it ran good. And then I cleaned the tank, got the tank on it, made the fuel lines, got all the fittings for that, and finished all that up. And I broke this motor in basically at the show. The first time it had been started off of its own gas tank was at that show. So, and it still got the same oil in it that I put in it then, and it's still just clean. And then it went to Adams the next year, the Tennessee Kentucky Threshmen show, and ran there at that show the next year in 2022. And then I used it for several things around here. I ran a water pump with it at one point, and did a few other things. I built this carburetor out of parts from like 5 different flow jets to create this carburetor. So the top and bottom piece are from 2 different carburetors. The top piece is a reproduction off of a new Chinese carburetor. The bowl is off an original carburetor. The float is out of a Briggs and Stratton opposed twin carburetor that is surprisingly the same. This throttle shaft is the original throttle shaft out of ZZ, and I think the choke shaft is too. And then the jets are from different carburetors and everything else, but it does work good. All right, so let's clean the points. Oh yeah, they were crusty. That's why it didn't have no spark. You can see they were pretty dirty. Alright, they seem to be pretty clean. As you can see, this motor has no That's me moving it, but it's on the valves right there. I can feel the cam. It ain't got no back and forth to it. This engine actually has an oil pump, an internal oil pump with a screener in the bottom. It's pretty neat. Now we're going to take a little contact cleaner, spray it. On the points. I'm going to take some air and blow them off. The mosquito. First one of them I've seen this year. Alright, so points ought to be pretty clean. We can put the flywheel back on and find out. This has a half moon, I guess it's a Woodruff key, and it's usually a royal pain to put the flywheel on. And this flywheel has, okay, this one's not the 43, the other one I got's 43. This one's a 44, 1G of 44. So it was made in July of 44. I'd have to think about that, but I think it was made in July of 44. Alright, got it on the first try. To be honest, I'd forgot about that ground out wire. See if we got spark now. We hit something in there. I don't know what would be loose. I'm going to turn the camera off for a minute and see what's going on. Alright, so the noise wasn't no big deal. I also remembered to put the points cover on. And found a better washer for this flywheel nut. I think we have spark. Yes, we do. Really good hot blue spark. You want to be sure that nut's good and tight. So, now we can put it back together. The shroud will go first. Salt the crap out of it. Sorry if I'm standing in the way. A little bit of a tip on these ZZs. Don't tighten none of the shroud screws until you're ready to, or until you've got them all in, or you won't ever get none of them in. I do have another ZZ that is a 43. This one's a 44. The other one's 43. The other one is still awaiting restoration, and it is built exactly the same as this one, but it was a civilian model. It wasn't military, I think. Anyways, it may have been military, but it's painted black when I got it. So I'm going to have a military one, and then the other one's going to be painted up just like a regular ZZ. I think that's all of the shroud screws. I can start tightening them up. Can't remember right off what all else I had to do to this engine. I'll think of it later. But other than cleaning and all of that, it still took a lot of work to get this engine rebuilt back when I rebuilt it. Which wasn't but a couple of years ago. So I also built this engine back before I had a job, so I had more time to work on it. That's why I was able to build it in less than 3 months. And then this stern Fairbanks, it's sitting over here. I've been working on it for over a year. There will hopefully be a video on that soon. Make sure we still got spark. And we do. So now I'm going to change the oil. Also, if you can tell, I got to stop an oil leak coming from this little drain that I got on here. I got a good clean drain pan so that I can see exactly what the oil looks like. No, there's a little particles on the drain plug, but nothing not be expected from a rebuilt engine. So I'll just let that drain for a little while, and then I'll refill it. Alright, so the oil drains back in. The oil that came out of it was super clean. This engine even has a dipstick. Has low and full, and that's your operating range. It's painted red. And I'm putting mobile Delvac 15W40 in it. Which is not too thick. That's what I broke this engine in with. Yep, I'm going to need a funnel. I'm going to make a big mess. I'll spare you me putting oil in it. Alright, so I've got gas in it. We're going to see if it'll start. It's filled back up with oil. It holds about 2 quarts for anybody that's interested. So I'm going to turn the fuel on. I can see it swirling around the bowl. Let's see if that flow jet wants to leak or not. This thing always wants full choke. It didn't rattle very much, so I don't think it'll try to shake itself off the bench. Yep, still good and full oil. I think I overfilled it a little bit. And I did roll it over a bunch to prime the oil pump. So this used to be a 1-pull motor. I don't know if it still will be or not. We'll see. turned the fuel off, so hopefully it'll run out in a minute. Kill switch still doesn't work. Takes this thing forever to run out of gas. It'll sit here and do that forever. There it goes. Finally. So there you have it. 1944 Briggs and Stratton ZZ. That should have got it getting warmed up on its new oil. Yeah, got it getting warm. I'll get it out probably tomorrow and run it quite a bit and be sure everything's going to work right. I want to have it ready for this show season. This is a motor that a lot of people like to see and hear because it has such a different sound. So I'll see if I can find some pictures. I used to have some pictures of when I rebuilt this. I don't have any before pictures, but I have some during the restoration pictures that I'll try to throw in here at the end, but that's if I can find them. So I guess that'll be it for this video. Thank you for watching. I know it was another long video, but appreciate everybody watching. We'll see you in the next video.